Love is it? Gonzo, this is perfect.
Bam! Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Thanks for doing this, Cort.
Yeah, of course, man.
On short notice,
Appreciate you guys.
So you're from Oregon.
Originally, yeah.
Scott Irish.
Dude, Oregon's beautiful.
Oregon's a great place.
Love that place.
No, it teaches you some survival skills just being there. Yeah, no, it's a lot of woods. You get lost pretty easy if you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, such as anything in life. You know, you get lost pretty easy if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, that's true. So when did you find a guitar in your hands?
It was shortly after my parents' divorce. My dad had to find a way to keep me busy. And so one of his friends dropped off an old Johnson, little cheap Johnson guitar. And I don't know, like I was so bored. So I just kind of just kept with it. And so it was a huge coping mechanism for me for the most part. I didn't really apply myself like until I was maybe 15 or 16. But yeah, I was about, I don't know, like 10.
Okay.
Yeah, about 10.
That's about the same time it came from for me. Kind of the same. My parents gotten like 3 fake divorces. Like anytime the marriage got a little stale, they filed for divorce, separated for a few months, then got back together. It was
Dad, are you guys getting a divorce? 5 times.
They did it over and over again. But I think for all of us, our parents got divorced at some point in time.
Yep.
Maybe they got back together. And during that time, we were all given instruments, you know,
Yeah.
as distractions.
Right. Yeah, just to keep us off, drugs.
Exactly.
It's actually that works better than Dare.
Oh, I
for
think
sure.
so, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nancy Reagan never really, well, I mean, I was too late for that generation, but still, she didn't help me stay off drugs.
Yeah, it should have just been like, not Dare, but like after school band jams.
Right.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, the thing is if you do it right, well, if you think about the numbers, how many people are going to become rock stars in their life, right? So, like, the chances of you living that rock and roll, sex, drugs, and rock and roll type thing, like, was pretty small, right?
Yeah.
So it probably keep you, I mean, I didn't get any girls because I was too busy with guitar. Like, sure, it's the same for a lot of people. I think that
Certainly.
was a big reason why I got into playing guitar.
Was the girls.
Was the girl, yeah.
Certainly, I know for a fact, like I can remember the girl, the grade I was in, I was suddenly singing songs in the shower and I was like, well, I need an instrument.
Yeah, the only reason why I learned any Jack Johnson was some cute girl on a beach.
Well,
Right.
I think that's why everyone learns Jack Johnson.
Right, exactly.
It's not for them.
It's for the divorced moms.
Yes.
Them divorced moms love that Jack Johnson.
I think this is a common theme we're already finding so far on Song Shop, too. It's like guys picking up instruments for the girls.
Yes.
Maybe the most universal theme so far.
Yeah,
100%.
I think that's a big thing for music. But like if you look back at Stone Age or Stonehenge, so anybody that wants to impress someone, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to build something or make something, right?
Mm-hmm.
These guys at Stonehenge, they're just like we're just trying to impress the girls over
Yeah,
here.
that's so funny.
Watch us remove these rocks.
That's probably exactly what it was. It's like it was a calendar. It was
was
a
alien,
time
yeah.
portal thing. It's like, no, it was just some dudes being like, we stack rock.
Yeah.
Now you come with me.
Yeah,
Girl like my rock.
Yeah. No, David, he wouldn't have did all that poetry or nothing if it wasn't for all the girls. Yeah, Bathsheba. Yeah.
It's true.
God and girls.
God and
Yeah.
girls.
And nothing more motivating in the world for a man than a woman.
That's right.
Yeah.
Probably inspired at least, 80% of my songs.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, for
God
sure.
and girl. Well, if you hear every single country song that's any good always has to do with America, God,
Yeah.
and trucks. My dog that ran away.
Yeah.
Like just it's a common.
That's the
Dude.
transition. Is
Yeah.
I went from once I got married, I went from writing songs about girls or for girls to my dog.
Right. Oh
Now,
yeah.
now it's basically all for my dog.
Or Joe started with the dog.
Yes.
Yes.
What's that? There's that one song. Won't you love me like my dog does, baby? It's that same thing. Like, yeah, I totally feel that now. Like, I spend a lot more time, playing guitar for my dog than I do any girls.
Well, I feel like it's that unconditional love is the theme there. You
There we
know,
go.
we're all just looking for that unconditional love. It's like God,
Yeah.
a girl that can love you unconditionally. That's a
Right.
wife,
Yeah.
and then a
And
dog.
a dog.
You
yeah.
know.
No, isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It
Interesting.
It is interesting. I never had the dog, until I got married. I had every other type of pet growing up. Mm-hmm. I guess feel like I was maybe extra yearning for a woman because I didn't have a dog growing up.
Yeah.
It was more of a priority. Like, I got to write these songs.
Right.
I got to go rope me a girl
Man.
with a good little emo tune.
So, what were some of the stuff that you were playing when you first began? Because I fell into that whole emo thing too, but my grandpa was like, that's so stereotypical because the Cowboys used to be the most emo thing that you run across. Those guys. You ever see a cowboy at a bar? None of them are happy. They're all sitting there. They're all drinking. They're all pissing away their life.
Dude, when I moved out here, we went to an open mic, and I got introduced to cowboy poets.
Right.
And
right.
that was the first time I ever heard of that genre of human.
That was huge back in the day.
Dude, it's pretty amazing. Just ranchers writing poetry about their experiences.
Well, how else are you going to get over shooting dudes back in the 1800s? Just watching death and destruction.
And they had a lot of open range and just, silence by themselves.
Thinking,
a lot of thinking time, a lot of thinking space.
For sure.
Isn't that, so when you find yourself in those, I guess, moments of absolute boredom, you got to do something. So, I guess that's pretty much what kind of led me to keep going, playing guitar was, that boredom, that unconditional, no matter what you're doing, you can at least do something fun. So,
how old were you when you started playing?
oh, I got a guitar when I was about 10, and I think I started taking it kind of serious around 15, 16. That was when I was like, oh yeah, I can actually do something with this, and started doing bands, and but I never was I wasn't an overachiever. So total underachiever. So I never really applied myself when I was trying to, go somewhere with it. I was just always like, oh, there's a farmer's market. I'll go play the farmer's market and make, $80. Being near Portland really helped me in that. Cause dude, you could show up at a rest area and post up for 2 hours and make $100.
That's awesome.
Just busking.
So, yeah. And I was broke kid. So
That's a great gig for real. I mean,
dude, at a rest area 7 miles away, or a truck stop, or back then it wasn't scary or nothing. Now, I mean, I couldn't imagine a 16-year-old being in a damn rest area.
But I did that. I mean, the very first band I ever started, we were like, oh, dude, let's go down before the Pacers game.
Right,
so all these
right.
people are just passing by, and we just play the same damn song for 30 minutes straight. He had to djembe so you could hear it for blocks.
yeah.
And I busked to get enough money to buy new guitar strings. And
So when you picked out these songs to busk, how did you gauge it? Because I was basically just gauging it off of what somebody might hear on a radio, like Jason Mraz, I'm Yours. I'd be all like, oh, well, the chances of them getting out of their car to that song is maybe 1 in 1,000.
we always did originals, which was maybe a bad idea, but we would just repeat a really dumb but universal chorus. I remember one of the things we did was give me a beer, give me a shot, fuck it right now, I'd even smoke some pot, and then just GDA over and over again, and he's playing the djembe, and as people are passing by, drink a beer, smoke some pot, here's $1. I'm into that stuff.
Yeah, that's smart.
That reminds me of all the kids that I met in Portland that were like, fuck you, give me money. fuck you, give me. Then it's you're like, do you make money? Oh yeah, tons.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You're like, yeah, if that works.
I think the other reason for that for us is because like our actual originals were like pretty damn emo.
Oh, right.
I think anyone going to a basketball game would be like, you guys are losers. If we were singing our originals, because like they were very much like, why doesn't Sarah like me? You know, it was like, it's bad. You know, I don't want to tell you guys about any of those songs. They were horrible.
That's funny.
I used to just take like rap beats that were popular at the time and be like just put a reggae beat to it. It'd be like yellow model jeans, yellow bottle sipping, yellow Lamborghini. It'd be like, and people would be like, oh, okay, like, yeah, no, that makes sense from, you know, a guy in a cowboy hat, I guess. Like, you know, like nobody questioned it. It was always very like, huh, like, well, at least he's got a thing. Like,
you should have kept that going.
Yeah, right. No.
You know, now it's like rap country stuff.
Yeah, no, that's, you know, if I told people back in, 2006 that all you got to do is just put a rap song to a reggae beat or a country beat, and people would be like, "Well, that's just silly."
Yeah.
You know, like who does that? It's not making no money. Like no, that's what it is.
For sure.
Yeah, trap.
Did you ever
beats.
busk?
Dude, I actually busked like I did it in reverse.
Okay.
So you went on tour and then busked.
Yeah, and then then we moved to Joshua Tree like after my run of touring for like 5-6 years. We went to Joshua Tree, and I had a friend of mine who just loved jamming. Like we would just sit in my house and just like I would play chords, he'd solo, he'd play chords, I'd solo. Like we'd just go back and forth. And he's like, let's just start doing this out in public.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, okay. And it's funny because like we never really made a lot of money doing it. I actually had this $1 that we made.
Yeah, to the
and
one.
we have.
Yeah.
I keep it in my case, and it just says
That's
like,
cool.
yeah, like there's gonna be more of this.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Nice.
awesome.
yeah.
Nice.
And but it was interesting because maybe it was just being in Joshua Tree, but instead of tips, it felt like it was like a vortex we would create, and then these people would come in and have these random conversations with us, like super deep
Oh, yeah.
conversations, like life, like where are you here? And it's also Joshua Tree, so it's like
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, it's
right.
the right community for
This
it.
is
Yeah.
Coachella country. Like, yeah, you got
people
a bunch
are
of
like,
people.
there's a
got it.
reason why you're here right
Right.
now. So yeah, but like I met this guy, Josh. He busked as a it was like he had a wizard hat on, and he would always wear dresses. And
Right,
it's like
right.
a dress wearing wizard, and he would just play out there all the time. So
Named Josh in Joshua Tree.
Right.
yeah. And I ended up like recording a bunch of music with him. He was a really great artist, but yeah, it was like just random characters like that we would end
love
up
it.
meeting.
Would you ever been to that, Salvation Mountain down there?
Yeah,
Where- yeah. That,
we did it there.
Okay.
We did it at Slab City.
Yeah, Slab
You
City
dude,
there,
I was,
yeah.
Yeah.
I have some Slab City jam stories
Yeah.
randomly. This is a good one. I'm going to tell it real quick. So, you've seen the Moon Bus
Yep,
up on my
yep,
property. My old tour bus. Once we were done touring and it was just parked in California, I was like, I mean, hell, I got to do something with this to just pay for the storage.
Right.
And so I put it up on Airbnb, which doesn't really make sense
Right.
because it's like, no one could just come live in it. But I was just like, whatever, someone's going to get in touch with me eventually, being
Right.
like, is this like for rent to like drive around?
Right.
And this woman named Donna Ferrato, who is a like award-winning Smithsonian published photographer from New York.
Cool.
And she does like hardcore shit. She did like a whole thing on domestic violence in like the 90s in New York. So she's like going in photographing
Yeah.
men who had hurt their wives, being like,
Wow.
yo,
Yeah,
what do you
doing?
think, tough guy? I'm photographing
Yeah.
you and putting my book saying
Talk-
you're a
yeah,
woman
talk to me
abuser.
like that.
So she's hardcore, right? Anyhow, they contact me and I'm like, shit, like, yeah, of course, it's bus for rent. It's all grade A, good to go. I don't have insurance. I mean, this is
Right.
definitely illegal in the realm of commercial
Right,
work.
right.
Anyhow, we get to talking and she's like, wait a minute. Oh, so anyhow, the reason she wanted to rent it was for her photography retreat called the Exotic Eye, whatever. It's the Exotic
Right.
Eye. And some well-to-do rich folks from New York are all taking a photography course and paying her a lot of money to do this. And I didn't know what to expect. Anyhow, she said she's going to have like 15 people, and they want to go to Joshua Tree, and they need a cool like way to transport him. They also want to go to like some seafood place or whatever, like on the way. Anyhow, I'm like, yeah, I can totally do that. We get to talk, and she's like, oh, you're a filmmaker too? How about you film it all? So I'm like, Yeah, I got a driver.
Right.
I didn't.
We'll figure this out
my
on
old
the fly.
touring guitarist is in Indiana. I call him up. I'm like, dude, you got to leave the farm, lazy. I got you a job, like $500 a day to drive the bus. He's like, I'm there.
Yeah.
And so he brings his wife. They come out. They're driving. I'm filming this whole thing. Day one. Oh, and right beforehand, and I'm like, fuck. The bus got totally graffitied. Where I had it parked. I mean, just head to toe,
Just
windows.
Somebody had a great time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I'm like, fuck. And then, sure enough, this buddy of mine has a friend who's a graffiti artist, and his thing is eyes. So I'm like, best case scenario now, like, it's not going to look the way that they saw it. Can you re-tag this with a bunch
just
of
a bunch
eyes?
of eyeballs, right?
So I do that, and I pick them up at the airport, and this woman is like, this is God. Like, this bus is covered in eyes. You did this for me? And I'm like, yes, the whole time.
This is the plan.
It wasn't to cover up the,
Nope.
the gang tag.
No.
Dude, that is like ultimate making something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So then
Impressive.
and then I'm realizing that all these people coming on are like loaded, and this is going to be a wild trip, and like it is nuts. The reason they wanted to stop at the seafood place was because they were getting live octopuses, and then they all got naked in the desert and like were wearing the octopuses. It was some wild shit.
Wearing
we went
the
to Salvation
This-
Mountain.
It's like, well, have you ever seen like anime, right? Or tentacles?
Yeah.
Tentacles
We
are
go
a
to this
big
place.
deal in Japan. Man.
Whoa.
I actually got engaged at the ranch that they rented out. Shout out Rimrock Ranch, pretty awesome place in Joshua Tree. We wake up the next day and like, I just see like a naked man walking through the desert wearing an octopus, and I'm like, what have I got myself into?
Brian Christian walking around the desert with an
Anyhow.
octopus.
They're all
so
doing
the
drugs.
octopus, like you guys are like partying with the octopus.
There's multiple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
multiple
and
octopi.
half the people.
I'm assuming you're keeping them alive.
Definitely.
Oh no, they were
octopi
already
at this
dead. I
point.
think they got them dead, but
No.
they were for consumption. I
I
think.
was really hoping that they were just like they had a little like a camel pack on the
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
octopus,
Hooking-
just keeping them
sprayer.
hydrated.
That
A
would've been
sprayer
awesome.
on the back.
That would have been awesome. But anyhow, we went to
Just
Slab
squirt,
City.
squirt.
just misting
Yeah,
it.
squirt, squirt.
Yeah.
Went to Slab City, and it was just the wildest night of my life. And like all of this just random drugged up jamming.
Oh, I'm sure, right?
And we
Yeah.
stayed the night, and it was just. I don't know if you've ever spent a night in Slab City, but you want to see the wildest shit.
Yeah, you want to see
there.
some crazy stuff.
I
Slab City's
I
up.
don't know if I'd want to spend the night in Slab
No,
City.
I never want to again, but
Yeah.
I'm glad I have that one experience. So, as we've been talking, it seems like you've done a pretty good amount of traveling. Like you've been around the West a good amount.
As many times as I could get away from my dad. That was the whole thing. I mean, if I can get 2 weeks away from my dad, it was great. Hate to leave my dad like with my little brother that long, but yeah, no, I did. I'd get a wild hair and just be like, I'm going to go hitchhike. Like just for
Okay.
fun. Like,
Yeah.
just like I had a car. And I just was like, I don't got money for gas. I'm just going to go hitchhike somewhere with my backpack.
Shout out Daddy Issues.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no.
Great motivator.
Yeah, great. Yeah, really. Yeah, no. Yeah, God rest his soul, but he's probably doing better up there than he was down here. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I think with a lot of times, yeah, that's really what pushed me to travel was just getting away from
Getting away.
home.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
getting away from having to work every day for just a week or two.
So, how'd you get into cattle ranching? And as that,
I grew up with it just
So
on
it was
the
just
ranch,
always
yeah.
there.
We had a ranch, and then my dad bought a dairy farm. He always held 40 hours welding and doing some sort of industrial work, and left me and my brother to really handle everything. And we usually hired about 5-6 people a year just for the ranch, and then we had about 12 employees for the dairy farm until we sold the dairy farm. It went under. Dairy Gold bought us out, and they ended up saying 5 years. They were going to take 5 years and then downsize it, and they only took 2, and they just shut everything down. But some of them people that were working for that dairy farm 40 years, they had to go find something else to do. We had a hop field for beers.
okay.
Cool.
Shout out hops. Can't have beer without hops. No, I think you probably can, but we just had some land out there. Dad passed, sold everything out there, bought into a cattle operation in Montrose. My brother runs that. I got into developing land, and and took the easy way out. I work for a 61-year-old wonderful woman, and her husband died, so I basically just run her 200 acres and the neighbors about 250 cows. So it's a cow calf operation. So that's what I do now, is basically just work for the neighbors and run cows, and we have a small dog fostering program.
Well, dude, I want to hear more about your music. And like, these days, like, are you writing songs?
Oh, I don't write. I am a terrible, terrible songwriter. I'm an impressionist. That's all I do. I like learning songs and then trying to do the very best I can to kind of reenact what they were doing on whatever album.
That's cool though.
I think there's some people that are meant to do that. If I've had friends that go, I wrote a song, I think that you'll be great at doing this song. And I'll be like, okay, and I learn it and I do it. But when I try to write something, I pick at myself so bad. I'm like, well, that just sounds like Norwegian wood. Like, oh yeah, what you're going to rewrite this again?
And not a bad place to be though, if it sounds like Norwegian wood.
Right, yeah. Where you're like, and I really do. I try and I go, okay, but then like most of the stuff that I would come up with off the top of my head, just like it's all like kind of comedy stuff, like you're like something that's gonna make you laugh or whatever. But
have you checked out Bo Burnham?
Oh, I love Bo Burnham. Yeah,
so,
he's got that one country. Yeah, like
dude,
oh man, that
he's amazing.
That's so funny you say that, because I used to listen to he was on the Bob and Tom show all the time.
Like toast? Toast.
He was the one that used to do sitting on a toilet in a house that I don't know, looking all around me where the toilet paper goes, feeling real uneasy, feeling real uncertain, because I gotta wipe my butt again with the shower curtain. It's like stuff like that. It's like, and I gotta remember, it'll come up in about 5 minutes, but Carrington. Yeah, Rodney Carrington. Yeah, so he was on the Bob and Tom show all the time, and I used to like love doing that kind of stuff because it's just real easy, and like, say you got a friend around, like me and New York Chuck. That's why I call it a New York Chuck. He does all the work for you. Me and him will be playing, and like when I come up with lyrics, it's always like, yeah, kind of something funny or kind of, but anytime I like do it seriously, I'm like, hey, nobody's going to listen to this. Nobody cares. It's not that great. Like, and so that's what really, like, that's the wall that I've kind of created for myself. And, but I really love playing with other people and like contributing that way. I think that's really the, like, but I've just never been the lyrical, idea man. Yeah. So, but I did this show over at the Trinidad Lounge, and Cort, who owns the lounge, shout out Trinidad Lounge. What a great place.
Love the Dad Lounge.
Anybody that has a stage with a big old wagon wheel on the thing, like, it is freaking awesome. Like, horse yokes hung up. Like,
sign me up to play.
No, just a great place to play. And he does a wonderful job with sound. He hit me up. It was like the day after New Year's, and he was like, hey, if I put you on the list for this month, this is the last month I'm not doing any shows in February. You want to do a little show, come on down. I'm not going to do any cover. I'll give you 10% of the bar, tips. Oh, I was like, yeah, sure. I get 2 weeks. And so I did. I just took the 2 weeks of, and just really like practice as much as I could, all the songs that I wanted to play, and show up and had about 20 songs. And so that's kind of what I like to do, is I'll just show up, play whatever covers that I can come up with, and then, like really just try to do the best I can to make those covers really shine. But it's hard for me to do anything that sounds like me, because I guess I never did figure out what me sounds like, so.
For me, when I write songs, if I'm thinking about other people and what they're going to think of this, like, I will do the same thing and like nitpick myself to death, and nothing would ever happen. But I feel like really for me, it's like what have felt the best to me is like when I'm writing something that is just for me, and it's just like a pure expression, and then people end up resonating with it, and that's like bonus, So like I would just, aside from all of this, like encourage you to just write for yourself sometime and see like what's going on
One thing-
inside
I
you.
agree. I absolutely agree.
Go
Before,
ahead.
I wanted to say that there has been moments in my life where I have played something and wrote something to it and made like had that joy.
Yeah.
But then if I play it, it doesn't resonate with me. But if I play it for someone else, they're like, "Oh man, this is so good," and I'm just all like, "Well, what do you know?" You don't have years of musical experience. He's like, but you got to forget, like you have to forget the way you see it, right?
Yeah.
And then kind of value the input from the outside, right? And
Yeah.
I guess I never did value that outside input, right? So and that's a defense mechanism, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So but
Well, thing
continue.
you mentioned,
Right.
you like typically when you try to get into that mode and you're creating something original,
Right.
it comes out comedic or
Right,
silly, and I
right.
think that's something that's like you shouldn't shy away from. Like, and I've learned through like this process of us doing this podcast that we've made a lot of like silly tunes now already.
Right,
They're
right.
kind of goofy. They're not. It's not like, oh, this is going to be an emotional, dramatic piece.
Right, this ain't no 80s ballad.
And I
here.
think that's something that's like, so often, and I do it to myself too. I'm like, if I'm going to write a song, I look at it like it's a serious thing. I'm about ready to make an indelible mark on my soul and give a tribute to my wife. And it's like, no, actually, I just want to talk about my dog, like loving bones and not being able to find him.
Right, yeah,
Or like
no.
how, or running into the wall, just in goofy shit. Or
But I
like
feel like
wiping my ass with a shower curtain.
Dude,
Right,
I
right.
feel like what I love about you is like even like in your small interactions, like your text messages, or that Greg like filled out my form on my website to work with me,
Oh,
and
right.
he filled it out in this like really like cosmic poetic cowboy way, and I feel like everything that you do like it just has this like grandiosity to it, which is like I get why that would be challenging to every time you sit down to write a song, you're like I have to like
It's true. I mean,
I have to aim for the stars.
I have a little like epic complex.
Yeah.
Well, right, but so that's the whole thing about writing, though, is if you're writing to create something amazing, right? You have to kind of like walk into it like going, yeah, this is going to be really, really good.
For sure.
Like this is going to be great.
It's like Freddie Mercury vibes.
Right.
Like Freddie
Right.
Mercury's like, we're going to be the greatest band ever.
Yeah, right.
You know?
But what I'm really getting at is that, like, if you start at that point,
Right.
the pressure becomes too much and it's an insurmountable wall.
Oh,
and
absolutely. Right.
what's really happened in my life, my real good songs are like when I just am being silly, when I'm playing something to make my friends laugh.
Right.
And I got
Yep.
that one part of the line that's just like good, like you can find me down the street at the pot shop, trying to escape defeat.
Right.
And I'm literally playing that, joking around, like I'm literally about ready to go do this, or like, just making some kind of light of our actual situations and things that come from like just being goofy, not trying
Like
too hard.
conversational.
Quentin Tarantino dialogue,
Yeah.
just being real with it and not trying to be overly poetic or dramatic or make something good or serious and
right.
like talk about wiping your ass with the
With
shower,
a shower
curtain.
right?
Like starting there usually yields me a better product that in the end might not actually come off as silly to a lot of people, because like when you're kind of making light of your circumstances in a lot of way, people are like, fuck, I've been there, I've wanted to blow my brains out, and you're making a joke about it, I'm in.
Right. Now, and this
Yeah.
is something about our generation too, because like it's like you walk out of the room going, "Fuck, man, it's gonna kill me," like, and that's just like how we cope in our generation. I think the reason why I always thought the comedy was the way to go is because if I'm laughing about it, then people are laughing with me, right? If somebody's laughing at the emo song that I wrote,
Yeah.
well, then there's something wrong. You're not supposed to laugh. You're supposed to sway, like gently
Yeah,
sway,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like so, like if you think about it like that, yeah. And the same thing with the country, though. Like Cowboy is the most. And if you got to think, it is. It's like a emo cosplay, right? Like these guys are making songs about, man, my girlfriend just left me, and the only thing I can do is drink as much whiskey as I could possibly fit in this gullet. And maybe I'll feel better tomorrow, but I'd probably be pretty hungover and be talking about the same shit. And I think it's interesting that we've come to this point in society where that is just kind of the music that sells, is this whole feel bad for me, I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Well,
I think another point too is you always hear comedians a lot of times are the most depressed people.
Oh, of course.
And they're also brilliant.
Right. And happy, but depressed.
But
right.
but there's just that underlying struggle, and this is how they're coping with it.
Right.
And I feel like that's what people need in music too, and why Bo Burnham keeps coming up for me. Have you seen his Inside special?
No, I want to.
It's so incredible.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
The biggest thing that I've ever remembered Bo Burnham was him doing the country song.
Oh yeah, Pandering.
Pandering. Yeah, and that just brings it to the whole thing where I think about it all the time, where these guys are I guess one of the reasons why I was never into being okay, I'm going to be big, was because I always found that that attention-seeking behavior to be off-putting, and that's what it's kind of become with social media. And so me not being on social media and me not doing any of that, it does lose me certain opportunities, right? But then do I really want them opportunities?
It's an important thing to know.
It's I can very easily put something together, put it on but does that really influence others to really know me?
Right.
And I feel the best way you could ever know anybody is around a fire.
Totally.
Or in your barn, or just in a little podcast like this. You have to take the time to. I feel if I was just to spread myself super thin and try to be something that I'm not, well, then there's a lot of work that's not getting done because I'm not there, and then two, it comes down to this whole idea of what do you want to accomplish with music? Do you feel the money aspect of it is really what should be looked at, or do you need to be seeing what's going to fulfill you, right? And if that means playing to your dog, I feel a lot more fulfilled playing to my dog than I did, a whole bar. I feel there's a lot more pressure at a bar. At least my dog don't judge me, but the whole idea being what do you want to get out of that? Because there's only so much money you can pull out of something like this, especially if you're doing it by yourself. And, what are you going to hide behind an acoustic guitar? You're going to have bad nights. So, but I feel people get picked apart way more now than they did before. It used to be being raw was the thing, right? Raw. And now it feels like everything's overproduced. So that I have a higher standard of how I have to go into it, especially singing, because I was never really a great singer, right? I could sing, but I ain't winning no American Idol or nothing, but there are people that go, oh, well, this is what I have to offer, and if I'm comfortable with it, others will, embrace it. And so a lot of that I do think about when I'm doing covers is how is the audience going to embrace it? So
that's cool, man.
It seems like no one does it for fun anymore. And I love that you're coming in and that's kind of your spot.
That's the only reason to do it. If it wasn't fun, I just wouldn't do it, right?
Well, it's you're not sitting, you don't got an upcoming record coming out. You're not,
the next show I'll play is probably about a month and a half, 2 months from now, and it'll be for a guy that's 20 years old that's actually trying to do something, and I'm just filling in for him, kind of thing. And that to me is the strive. Is okay, if I can go in there, all I have to do is be half as good as him, right? If you walk in and you have half as good as him, well, he's a touring artist, and that's kind of also the way, when I'm practicing songs for a show or whatever, I'll go, okay, so can I do this justice? If I can't do it justice, I ain't gonna play it. But then the idea that those guys have bad nights too. Those guys have horrible nights sometimes. They get too drunk or whatever. But the idea behind it is that if you can play half as good as, say, Morgan Wallen on his worst night, well then, dude, you're bringing something to the table. And I feel like that to me was always like the strive to be like, well, if you can be just half as good as one of those guys, well, then it's worth listening to. But a lot of people, I feel like, never get to that point because of whatever, right? The same way that I've never got to the point of being like, oh, I'm going to write a bunch of songs and this is going to be what I tour on. I feel like there's a lot of that kind of, yeah, where are you going to go with it? What are you doing with it? Like, if my goal at the end of the night is just being like, hey, I'm going to do the best I can, and if I can reach just half of what some of these touring artists are doing, well, man, I don't do this professionally. It's like an amateur golfer going out for the Masters. They're like, going to play, Augusta. I still go at it professionally, but knowing that, hey, if I'm an amateur going out there just doing what I like to do, well, that's the goal.
That's kind of, I think, what a little bit of our goal is with this podcast, is to kind of like celebrate songwriting in the sense that like it doesn't have to be this serious task. It doesn't have to be this thing where it's like I'm writing something that's gonna be put on an album and then
listened by millions.
It's got to be really important. It's got to be serious, dramatic. It's got to touch the soul. It's like no, like half the time I'm writing songs, it's to pass the time. It's to fill the air. It's quiet, and I
like
want some sound.
Back to the original purpose of playing songs.
Exactly. Yeah. Like when Cowboys were playing tunes, 100 years ago, there wasn't even a radio, right? They were playing to the cows to pass the time, to unwind their own brains.
Keep shining on the desert sky above.
Yeah, exactly.
By
the way, you got a great voice, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. No, it was work. Mm-hmm. I had a teacher named Mr. Wilhite that had me in choir, 6th grade, and he said, "Oh, you got a voice, you just haven't found it yet." Blah blah, and I still haven't found it, But yeah, the imitating.
It's like Peter Pan's shadow. It's sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not.
Right. You generally, as a musician, have a goal, right? And I feel like I was just really goalless for a long time. Like, I was just kind of following. Oh, hey, you want to play in this band? Oh, you want to, and like. I liked going after other people's, dreams more so. But then when I was doing it, man, I loved playing music with other people because of the fact that they were way more stoked than I was about. Like, and I was like, oh, I'm getting re-stoked about this, right?
Yeah.
Like, same with my buddy Steven Fiorenzi, who gave me that guitar. He was just like, wow, like, you're smiling. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. It's like, oh yeah, no, I guess I am. Like, he's like. But if you put that much time into something, like, you're almost doing yourself a disservice not sharing it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So, but it goes back to, use 2 sticks to make it in nature. Just keep making a beat somewhere. Somebody's going to go, oh, I like that beat. I think that's fun,
It's interesting for me because my childhood dream was to, like, tour in a band and to do it. So I literally was like on that path since I was 12, kept making bands, kept getting a little more successful, the band breaks up. Okay, man, another band.
Right.
A little more successful, band breaks up. And then I finally got to, achieve my childhood dream of like going on tour with my band Danger Kids.
Cool.
And I played bass and it was like all of our best friends and like, oh, we're doing it. And we got
Danger Zone.
Yeah, we got to tour the world. And it was like, man, this is my dream. Oh my God, I made it. And then that fades.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, so now what? And then I made an album of my own because I was like, that's another dream. I want to write my own songs, make an album of my own.
Right.
Okay, I did that. Now we move here and I started playing out with Anna, my wife, and we're doing some originals, but mostly covers, and we're just entertaining people, having a good time. And the joy that I found in just that alone, like just going out for playing songs with my wife and like having a great time, it's like just as fulfilling as it was when I was on tour with my band.
Right.
It's scratching a whole different itch too. So it's like this idea that a lot of people have when they haven't like achieved this thing that they think is like what success is or something.
Right.
Like I feel like I kind of had that illusion shattered a little bit in a healthy way because it's like I did the thing that I wanted to do and that people like, there's people all over the country right now who I'm sure would be like, we just want to like make it as a band.
Well,
and
right.
And then I feel like I did that and then now it's like, oh wait, like that's not actually like what it's about.
Right.
And so it's like I feel like in that sense it's like I have this the convenience or like the privilege of having that experience, because now I can see through the veil. Like I can see past the illusion of like,
That's interesting.
because I hear you being like, oh, I have to just be half as good as this guy on tour or whatever. And it's like, to me, I'm like, there is no like hierarchy. I'm not like trying to like make your point like invalid. It's like that's your experience. But I just wanted to encourage you in the sense of like, you're already doing it. Like you're 100% doing it.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to. Don't put a professional layer over it.
Yeah.
Don't have goalless is perfect. I think too many people aren't doing it just for fun.
I think it's changed a lot now. You know, where that goalless now is what people are kind of looking for, right? Because there are, I'm sure there's a million people right now in America that go, I want to be a rock star. And I truly don't believe that that's what it is. You know, like, you know, when you're touring and you got a platinum album and all that stuff, that's great. And, you know, it takes a lot of work.
For sure.
And it doesn't, you know, say that, you know, lack of work, because some people just don't get the opportunities to do the stuff that they want. And that sucks. You know, a lot of people shy away from them or whatever reason they didn't get those opportunities. But when you're given those opportunities, it's really like, what are you going to do with it? Like, I could have very well said, hey, Curt, like, I ain't got it in me. You know, it's been 6 years since I've played a show. Like, I'm just, you know, I'm washed up just like any. But, you know, I can think of right now 20 people in Trinidad who are great artists, like really great artists, never really applied themselves to be big. Doesn't take away from their talent at all. You know, and then being big, well, that doesn't take away from your talent at all either. It just shows that you were given certain opportunities at certain times that were just the right time. Like some people just have a sound that just doesn't really reverberate with other people in a way, especially like around them. Some people are just born in the wrong place,
right?
You know, so
there's a lot of factors.
Yeah, so if you think about all the little variables and whatnot, but like in reality, like if you're doing something that you love and you go into it with a positive air, going, oh, you know what, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to keep it professional. I'm going to show people that I take this seriously. Even if you don't ever make it big, you went in there professionally. Totally. You took the time to learn the songs and not screw up the lyrics and do the best you can to show people that these songs are done capably by anybody, you know, and you know, everybody does, oh, well, you know, if I can do it, you know, anybody can do it, you know, kind of thing. Well, that's how I've always lived. Like, I was just like, well, dude, if I can do it, well, then there's nothing keeping you from doing it, because it was really hard for me.
I think that's like a really, it needs to be, music has this idea for some reason where sometimes it can be not inviting. Like, you gotta be a musician. Are you a musician? It's like, no, like, whereas with like golf or basketball, I'd be like, hey, you want to go play some pickup? And everyone's like, yeah, sure, I'm not worth a shit, but I'll do it. But so many people are afraid to take that step with music. And through touring, through chasing my dream down and realizing, well, now what? It's like once you chase the dream down and you can make it profitable, you realize, well, this will become a job.
Right.
And like that's never been the point of it. Now I'm at a point in my life where it's like, I don't want to be a rock star. I want to be a guy who has a barn. Right. That on Friday nights,
this is what
people
we're doing.
Show up and we're recording something to the airwaves that no one's going to the wind. It's gone with the wind. The point of this is to enjoy doing it. Like when I play a pickup basketball games, because I fucking love basketball, no matter how old I get, I'm going to love putting that ball in the hoop, just like I love fucking making noise with some good friends.
Well, right. When I was playing with you guys, like so the first time that I ever met you guys were playing in your little barn, little extension, you know, shop. And Charlie was like, oh yeah, no, go grab the guitar. And I'm like, no, I want to play bass. Like, you know, like I hadn't played bass it had been half a decade since I picked up a bass. And I just knew that right there was going to be the challenge for me was, hey, can I come up with a bass line that's actually going to look good or sound good and like, you know, really bring something to it. And it was like, oh, cool, you came up with a cool little bass. But I'm way more creative on a bass than I ever been on a guitar. I feel like, you know, that was, but me doing it when I came up there, it was like, I didn't think about, oh, okay, now you screw up really bad. You know, these guys aren't ever going to want you to play bass again. Like, you know, and it doesn't come up because, you know, if you're just bringing anything, right, you know, if you're around other creative people, they'll make it sound good.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be crazy good, but...
Dude, I'm sorry to cut you off. I just feel like the word dedication or like devotion keeps coming up in my head. It's like whether, you know, there's outside success or not, like what I appreciate about a musician or an artist is like when I can tell that they're dedicated to it. Like I think the only reason I ever went anywhere or had any luck is because I just was like refused to not keep going. Like I just kept going and kept going. And when you jammed with us, I was like, I appreciated it so much because I could instantly tell, like, you say you're like, I love playing other people's songs.
Right.
But I could tell right away that like you have this vocabulary of music that you've built to where you can come in and play something that's tasty, like sticky.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, thank God. Like this guy's dedicated time enough that he can pick up this bass, play something sticky, and now I'm inspired.
Right. Well, Rick Rubin, right? Okay, everybody knows Rick Rubin. Well, that guy, he's not a musician per se. He just has spent so much time figuring out what sounds good.
Like what he loves.
Every single time he hears something, he goes, you know what? Other people are going to like that because I like that. You know? Yeah. And so it is, it's like, do you have, you know, this repertoire in your head that, like, because I love funk. You know, I grew up on like country, but like I love that ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. Like, yeah, those big, you know, those big drum drops that go into this, you know, that kind of stuff to me just sticks, right? So with bass, that's how I've always seen it. It was like, I really like that slappy kind of thing, but you don't, you know, how many times do you hear, you know, a guy in a cowboy hat go up and be like, oh yeah, no, here's some Limp Bizkit. Like, you know, like sometimes that's what it kind of takes is going outside of the comfort zone and picking out something that resembles something that you really like and goes, okay, you know, this is all encompassing.
Yeah.
And so if you come up with something all encompassing, well, then other people go and they go, oh yeah, no, that's what I want. You know, that drops. So
exactly. And that's you. Like, I feel like that's an authentic expression. It's like it's that all encompassing. You're taking everything you love. You're bringing it to this moment right now.
Pack it in there.
Here it comes out. And it's like you. It's like, okay, someone sees the way you dress. They probably think, oh, dude's a rancher, dude's a country guy. But then it's like, but he's also got like a rose on his neck.
Yeah.
And he's got a bunch of like tattoos. I'm like authentic.
Right. So, you know, a lot of that came from, you know, I got tattoos because I knew that if I got tattoos in seeable places, it'd make it so I couldn't just get a regular job. I always thought, okay, if you're not stuck in an office, you're doing good.
Yeah.
You know, right? So that to me is the biggest thing was the trying to make myself being like, okay, I'm now fully employable. Like I'm just going to work ranches my whole life, you know. But yeah, like there is some, like I played metal for 4 or 5 years. Playing metal for 4 or 5 years like changed the way I saw, like, you know, genre to genre.
Yeah.
There is something about that once you start jumping genres and you're like, okay, like, you know, this is who I am at this point. You know, I got dropped dead on my knuckles. Like nobody, like, I think it's so funny that I'm just like some really nice guy that has dropped dead on their knuckles. And I don't know.
I was trying to read it. I knew one was dead.
Yeah. So, but the whole story was my buddy was like, oh, you know, I'll give you knuck tats if you just let me do whatever. Like, you know, like, and a lot of that, like a lot of tattoos that were just traded for like hash. Yeah. You know, like, yeah. So like those kind of things, I thought that was the thing you did back then because everybody was kind of doing it, right? But yet, like now it's such my personality where people are like, well, this dude kind of looks hard. It's like, well, no, not really, dude. It's Cort. He's just, dude, he's like the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Like why?
Which is even better. It's
Right,
like, oh, he's a
right.
nice guy that looks real hard.
Yeah, that looks
and
hard,
he kind
but
of dresses country,
yeah.
and he also looks like he's in a metal band.
But,
I'm like,
but now here's the thing: is now I'm competing against guys like Post Malone who have a lot more tattoos on their face.
you gotta step it up, dude. You gotta step it up. Yeah, you're not covered enough, man.
Just right over the forehead.
You're like 3% employable right now.
Yeah,
so.
3%. You got a little bit more work to do.
Over the years, I've gotten more employable now that everybody's coming out with like fully blacked out and stuff. I'm like, yeah, now I just look normal.
What I'm getting from this is that Cowboy plays the bass.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's like, yeah, if you sized you up, if you looked, you'd be like, oh, this guy's playing acoustic guitar. But the fact that you're like, nah, I'm kind of more drawn to the bass. I like funk. I feel like maybe that's where we should go in.
Yeah, I want to play Primus. Never gonna plan for this. About bass is all you have to do is just follow the drums, right? So if your drummer and your bass is really, really tight, then you ain't got any problems, right? This reminds me of like Modest Mouse stuff.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can't do a Modest Mouse sounding. Well, I walk out to the kitchen, gonna go get a bitch to the fridge where the bear is. We're getting a bear.
Yeah.
We're getting a bear. I like people get high like planes. If you catch me at the bar, I got nieces in my name. All I wanna do is pop, 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 pop. In the middle of taking my lane. Get another beer at the fridge right here. At the fridge right here. Days are harder now. Days are harder now without you. Without you, I love you so. Even though you broke my heart in two, and I'll never ever see you. I feel like most of those songs, that's what it was, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I love you,
I
but
love
I gotta hate you.
I still love you.
Crazy how well paper planes work.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
It's a good
dude?
mashup.
Yeah, no, it's weird that that's the way my brain works. Is so if I went to go like write my own thing, I'm like, oh well, that's 4 different songs.
It's great because honestly, like that gives you inspiration. You have such a great quality to your voice.
Well, thank you.
Like,
I think we should do something that's like in the vein of Modest Mouse rhythm, kinda. Then I think that you should like do kind of those rap
yes.
MIA vocals over it.
What's it mean to you? What's it mean to me? I can't stand this energy. I want you so bad, but I don't want the cost with it. I'm running out of options for the world you seek, for the world you live in, for the world you keep. I can't stand the feeling, I can't stand the taste. I just want it on the bay, just want it to be okay. I wonder why we took so long to figure this out. I don't even know how I'm gonna pay off this house. Can't afford that truck I drive. Can't afford another tear in my eye, 'cause I just see another reason to blink, another reason to blink. Oh, it's all smoking that weed under a tree. It's all we need now, smoking that weed under a tree. That's all we need.
Yeah, you get a little Jamaican there. Let's smoke another weed.
Jump on that bitch, jump on. Yeah, no, reggae's an escape for me, man. I think it's so fun.
Oh, I can. Nice.
Do like a little ditty, like that follows that.
Yeah, on the keys.
Yeah, on the keys. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like I like this bass and I want to hear that more. And that voices thing's kind of muddy in it.
Let's save the voices thing then for like a chorus or something.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that weird, like, it's creating that distance, like
For
that,
sure. You
makes
gotta
you
have some
feel,
off-kilter shit.
Right, you
going
gotta
on
make
in
you
this
feel-
We need like pots and pans.
right. Like an uneasiness, right?
That's cool, man.
Just one a bit more brassy acoustic.
Do you want to do that next?
Yeah, let's plug it in. I want to layer it on top of that real quick. Whatever. Trying to like do some like crappy shit on purpose.
Right.
To like give that modest
You
mouse.
want to give it, you want to give it like
Instead of
that.
just bend every string.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this progresses. Ooh, that sounds cool.
Twang.
Yeah,
It's
just
very
a little
stressful.
rhythmic, yeah.
There's tension, trying to
Yeah,
add to the tension
tension,
of
yeah.
doing that bend there.
Also, we should do the telly again.
Yep.
And we should do single notes like bow.
Yeah,
Like a
Yeah, it's coming together good. I don't know where it's going. It's part of the whole thing, right?
It's all good. We don't need to know.
Right, it's not for us to know.
Turn up the radio loud. Drive the same road we've been going down. Street lights passing by. I can't stop it, I can't stop it. I know that it's not right to just drive by. I can't stop now, I can't stop now. 'Cause I can't live without this feeling you give. I won't give in, but I won't give up. So I turn this car around, head across town and just go home. And turn off my phone.
I mean, dude, that's some shit right there.
Hit song, bro. That's solid.